What I understand now is the energy of holding things in and how that makes us sick. So I want to talk through that in case there's anything about this that helps any of you, and maybe there's something going on in your life and you need to reach out to a friend or you need to talk to somebody, but you haven't quite found the courage to do it yet. Maybe this conversation will help you think about things in a little bit of a different way.
Welcome to the world of energy, where science meets spirit. Ancient wisdom merges with cutting-edge knowledge, and the possibilities for a healthier, happier you are endless.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Energy Works. I am Blaine, and I have a solo episode today, and it is on a topic that I've been kind of thinking about, been chewing on a little bit, and this whole process of this coming into my thinking is because of something that happened with my partner, Burke. Burke, he's older than me. And he has, I feel like this may be a little bit unusual with men. He has 3 very close male friends. One of them he's been friends with for over 50 years, and the other 2 he's been friends with for over 40 years. And they communicate regularly. Not the 4 of them together necessarily, although the 2 that he's known for over 40 years, those 2 know each other, and I think they communicate between themselves some, but Burke, just himself with each of the 3 of these men are in, weekly, often communication. And one of them was, Burke was a college athlete, and one of them was a college athlete with Burke, and so when there's big sports things coming on, I mean, sometimes they talk almost daily because they're talking about sports, and none of them live near us. They're in different states. And so he has these close male relationships, which I think is wonderful. It's something that I haven't observed, with my father or, my brother, maybe. My brother is a pretty outgoing guy. And it has, I know definitely he's very popular. Close male friendships who he talks to, every week or anything like that. He doesn't even live in the same state as me. So when he and I are talking, we don't talk about that so much, but I haven't observed that with him. But he has a lot of friends who he supports, but not necessarily this close. All right, I've been rambling about this for a minute. So a situation came up where one of these friends came to Colorado to visit Burke with his wife. I was living in Florida at the time, so I wasn't here for this visit. And they went on a hike. It was winter in Boulder, but it's been a very warm winter in Colorado. And so they could go hike. It wasn't too icy or snowy or anything like that. It was a little bit of a cold day, but they had good clothes and all of that, so they went on this hike. This friend and his wife came from sea level up to where we live, which is about 6,000 feet. And so you would expect on a hike that since they're not acclimated to the altitude, they might not be as fast or peppy as normal. And so the 3 of them went off on the hike, and his friend really started lagging back. And the friend's wife and Burke were more up front, and they're talking, where Burke's friend, the man, was just falling back. And so Burke was like, oh, I'm just gonna, go back and make sure he's okay. It's probably the altitude. And so Burke went back down the trail and started hiking with him. Are you okay? Is it the altitude? That sort of thing. And his friend's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just taking it easy, trying not to do too much. And they talked for quite a while, and his friend kept kind of struggling. And his friend is very athletic. And so Burke, just kept checking. And Burke is like this. I mean, he's like this with me. Sometimes I'm like, I'm fine, because he'll keep asking me questions, and I really am fine. I'm just not so peppy that day. And so his friend finally said, okay, I haven't told very many people this, but I recently had heart surgery. And Burke said, what? And it turned out that his friend had a routine medical appointment, and they did, some sort of heart check and said, hey, you need to go in for a scan. And it ended up that he had a double bypass and hadn't mentioned it to Burke, hadn't told him at all. And when I came back from Florida and Burke was telling me this, Burke was so hurt. His feelings were very hurt. He could not understand this. He could not wrap his head around this close friend. I mean, they've been through, his friend's birth of child who's now in graduate school. They've been through life events. They've been through family suicides. They've been through many, many things together in over 40 years and really have a very close heart-based relationship. And that he somehow wouldn't tell Burke this, and they're the same age. Burke said to me, I mean, what he went through could help me. Maybe I need to get that scanned. Like, why wouldn't he share this with me, even just to help me with my health and my aging? Burke just could not get his head around it and was hurt. And I've been thinking about this. It just sparked a bunch of thoughts in me because I can relate to his friend. I am a child of divorce, and there were a lot of secrets in my family. There were a lot of things that we did not talk about. And I was raised in this home, this family culture where you just don't talk about things. And I have carried that with me through a lot of my life. And it's only been maybe in the past 10 years that I've come to the place that I can comfortably share, I'll say anything, maybe anything has boundaries, but I really don't have a lot of walls up or things that I'm afraid to talk about or ashamed to talk about. There are times that I don't feel ready to talk. I do go through a little phase where I'm processing. And if I haven't quite processed a few things, sometimes I'm not quite ready to talk, but I know that I have to talk. Like, it is a knowing that I have now. But again, it's only been in the last 10 years. And so reflecting on this, I'm not saying his name, to Burke's friend, I can have empathy for whatever was going on in him that made him not share this. What I understand now is the energy of holding things in and how that makes us sick. So I want to talk through that in case there's anything about this that helps any of you, and maybe there's something going on in your life and you need to reach out to a friend or you need to talk to somebody, but you haven't quite found the courage to do it yet. Maybe this conversation will help you think about things in a little bit of a different way. So when you have an experience and you choose not to speak about it, you choose to contain it, it affects a few things. I'll start about liver qi first. Liver qi becomes stagnant, and it manifests in the body in a tightness in the chest. There can be a feeling of tightness in the chest. There can be pain in the rib cage. There can be pain in the chest. I'm going to talk about heart separately because heart stuff can also cause pain in the chest. And then there can be this hunching over, this starting to have the shoulders curve in and the back hunch forward like you are protecting your chest. You know when you want to say something and you don't say it and you swallow it down and you can feel It's like a lump in your throat, a lump in your chest. Or when you want to cry, but you don't cry, you swallow those tears down, and there's this tightening in the throat, the tightening in the chest. This is this liver qi stagnation. And there's a term for it in Chinese medicine. They call it plum stone qi. Plum stone qi. Great name, right? This lump that you get. And ultimately, everything I'm going to talk about here is energetic imbalance. And when our energy is not balanced, we get sick. And when we have this qi stagnation, and all of this I'm talking about today is qi stagnation. When we have qi stagnation, when we have imbalance, we get sick. The other thing, this is in the same region of the body, our lung qi. So the energy of the lungs, we balance our lungs by letting go. And if we're holding on to things and not talking about them and expressing them and sharing them, we can't let go. And so we constrain our lung qi when we do this. We get this shallow breathing and, again, the hunched posture. And so when we're holding on to things a lot, we start to hunch forward and our head starts to come forward, and we start to get that hump in the back of our upper back. And then our heart qi. Our heart qi houses the spirit. The spirit, we call it Shen, S-H-E-N. It houses the spirit. And if we experience something heavy and we do not process it, then our heart energy, this warm, it's this heat energy, phlegm and heat energy wrap around the heart because it's trying to protect the spirit. The body is sensing this imbalance. The heart has imbalance. It needs protection. And so it's like a self-fulfilling thing. The more you don't share, the more your heart protects itself. The more you don't share, the more your heart protects itself. And you get this heat in the heart. And then you can think about all of the heart ailments and heart attacks and heart problems that happen with this heart protection. This friend of Burke's, I don't know, maybe Burke is one of the only people he ever talks to, and he does have a lot of heart protection, and it eventually created heart problems for him. I don't know much about him outside of, I've known him for a very long time now, almost 15 years I've been with Burke, but I don't know that much about the rest of his life. When we have this heat around the heart, we start to feel disconnected. We've overprotected the heart so much that we begin to feel disconnected, and our Shen, this heart spirit energy, can't connect with other people's Shen. We lose it, and so we get more and more disconnected. Qi stagnation in general is dammed up energy, and so we start to experience dammed up energy in the body. It's likened in Chinese medicine to compost, how compost starts to generate heat and starts to generate stink. And that's what we're doing internally when we're holding on to these things and not talking about them and not getting support. There's also, they call it in Chinese medicine, the burden on the will. And it takes energy. They call it the burden on the will because of willpower. It takes, it's willpower, it's energy to keep a secret, to suppress a memory. This is a use of energy in the body. And so energy that, we have, not really, but in a way, we have a quota of energy that we get every day. And if we divert so much of it to this suppressing memory and secret keeping and all of the maintenance that goes with that, we don't have as much energy for digestion and the healthy functions of the body that we need our energy for. And so it creates a lot of imbalance and we get sick. And then we have this stagnation, heavy feeling that is in our body. And because I was raised this way, I didn't know any different. I had so many secrets. Oh my gosh, if I could have talked to people and let some out of the things that was happening in my life when I was younger, I would have I would have felt so much lighter and probably not gotten into some of the difficult relationships that I got into because I wouldn't open up and I wouldn't talk. And people felt like they couldn't get close to me because I had this protection around my Shen, around my heart, spirit, energy. When you finally break the dam, the energy reorganizes itself and everything starts to heal and stabilize. A couple things I want to add to this is this is related. When I was making my notes for this podcast, this is something that jumped into my mind. In the field, for lack of a better word, of how to build relationships with people, if you want to build a business relationship, a friend relationship, if you want to just get to know someone better, like there's someone and you're like, wow, that's a really cool person. I would like to get to know her better. One of the ways that you can do that is ask them for a favor. When you ask someone for a favor or to help you with something, they were humans. They are wired to want to help you, and then they feel like they have this connection to you because you asked them for help, and so they feel closer to you, that you put trust in them. And it's a great way. I mean, you can ask. I mean, I've done this in business several times. I've reached out to somebody and said, hey, I'm looking to hire somebody. Here's the resume, or here's the job position that I'm looking for. Do you know anybody who you could refer me to? Right. And then that person replies back, and then we get into a dialogue and I get to know them a little better. And that's just one example. And so it dropped into my mind in the scope of this conversation because, this isn't asking for a favor, but in a way it's reaching out and inviting someone into your life and demonstrating that you trust them. And when you demonstrate to someone that you trust them, then they think you are trustworthy and they will trust you back. That is just human nature. And so even if it's just a small thing like, hey, I need to talk to somebody, it helps you have more close relationships in your life. And then I learned a phrase that I think broke the dam for me. I learned a phrase, 10 or 15 years ago. And the phrase was, shame can't survive the light. Shame can't survive the light. And when I learned that phrase, I had to chew on it a little bit, but then I started practicing it. When I was afraid to talk about something because I thought someone would judge me or think not of me in the light that I wanted them to think of me in, I would go ahead and share it. And this thing I've been holding on to, I've put it out in the light. Someone else knows. And the moment I shared it, I didn't feel shame anymore. The shame comes from holding it in. And the second you take whatever it is and you put it out in the light and someone else can witness it with you, the shame dissipates. And since I have experienced this lightness in my body from finally deciding to talk about something that I've been holding on to, and then it dissipates, it goes away, the shame goes away because I talked about it. Shame cannot survive the light. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, that the energy imbalances that are created when we hold things in, and the way that we can really become more healthy by sharing whatever it is that you're holding on to. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. Leave a comment. And I'm really glad I talked about the subject because I've been chewing on it, and there's a few things I needed to put out in the light myself. I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you next time on Energy Works. Alrighty, Energy fans, that's a wrap on another positively charged episode of Energy Works. Lauren, this is the part where we get to use our energy puns.
It's been electrifying, hasn't it, Blaine? We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
If you're feeling amped up and you want to keep your energy flowing, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform.
And we'd love to hear from you, so please take a moment to leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates, so light up our inbox.
And spark a conversation with your friends to tell them about us. And we'll see you next time on Energy Works.